Good afternoon, January 11th, 2018. And I question myself as others question me. Why haven't you ever voted? Have I ever voted? Do you really know if I have ever voted? Who have I voted for? When and why do I vote? Because who, what, when, where, and why are usually the questions. I'm watching right now, or actually, I'm listening to Alan Watts. For those who do not know, I'm going to show you what it is right now. I must have a little bit of noise in the background, and it's right over here. It's called right over here, Wisdom of Words, Alan Watts. And he was just talking about the bums, the hippies on the street. Why is nobody actually uh, wanting to go to work? Why do some people have mental disorders? Mental disorders caused by natal birth, mental disorders because of what happens in the family, and it gets us dysfunctional with everything around us. I shouldn't do this because he or she did that, and I don't want to do this because of this. And why should I go to work when I'm collecting welfare? They're getting $675 of welfare, and if they go to work at a job for 20 hours a week, they're completely cut off of their welfare because 20 hours gives 220 times 4 is 800 a month. Therefore, we don't need the welfare. So then, who is getting welfare? A mother has a child, the child's at home, they need money, they're getting just enough money to eat, but we all must survive. Before we have children, we have to understand how much it costs to have that child. We also, people have to understand that if somebody is living, somebody is consuming. If they're consuming, okay, if they're consuming in your province or state, they're putting all that money back into the province or state. So should these people be allowed, without getting heavily taxed, to collect a small welfare check and to work maybe 10 hours a week to make $100 or $400 a month? But then if they're making that, they need a babysitter for the child, which will cost them maybe half that amount of money, and they'll be satisfied. So the money spreads on. Now, the thing is, how are we spending our money? If we're spending it on drugs that are made here, that are not made here and taken from somewhere else, then our money is leaving the state and leaving. So there's no positive to this. So I think the thing that's really out of control is the money situation. Different ways we get our money. There should be a different way for certain people to get monies, and how we sort of spend our monies in a certain way because of this reality. Somebody was telling me before, I can't rent an apartment to somebody on welfare. Well, I think welfare checks should go right to the person you're renting from, and I think welfare checks should go right to the hydro that you're paying for. Um, it's up to the cable company, okay, whether or not they want to, that you have no guarantees for anything. They want cash down. Well, maybe you'll be able to sign over that welfare check to get, but then if you're getting cable and a telephone and everything else, where's the money for the food? Is it fair? Well, in this day in life, I don't know about television, but I think internet is very important. But wait a second, wouldn't it be great to live off the grid and not know anything from the city? But it is the city, but it is the city that actually, the city, the country, the roadways that we have to move. Imagine if we moved nothing and all life stopped. We wouldn't have any more hydro, so then everybody would be forced to live off the grid. So we have to have a relevant sort of new structure for those who want to live off the grid, and on whose land are they living? This land is my land. This land is your land. Okay, but so there's always got to make sure that we're all doing a little something towards society. No. So if the welfare person decides to go off grid and live in the forest and pays what for the land? Next to nothing. Remember, an acre of land is approximately $5, $6, $7,000. But if you're up north, in nowhere where nobody is, an acre of land in taxes is maybe $500 a year, even less in taxes. If it was $500 a year in 10 years, that's $5,000. Somebody who would own that land in 10 years, that land is worth nothing because he's paid more in taxes than anything else. They build roads and hydro lines to get up to these houses. So what is the tax purpose in somebody owning something? Imagine you own 1,000 acres of land up north and you have to pay $100 an acre. That's 10 grand a year. The land is only worth 10 grand a year. So is it worth $5,000 on 10 cents an acre? Is $500. That's a lot of money. So I have to understand the more of the business point of view of this. What does it mean to save the world? What does it mean for security? What is security? Security over drugs? Drugs isn't destroying the world. Safety and security. Why would somebody spend tons of money to protect themselves or nuclear weapons to send overseas if it wasn't to protect themselves? The gold, the oil, the minerals. The reality of all these things is force-fed into the mental state of a human being. We definitely need a restructuring. See the way they pinpoint North Korea? Maybe I don't hear much of it now. ISIS, I don't hear much of it now. Maybe because I'm not looking for it. But there's definitely something going on deep and below our own reality. And there definitely has to be an understanding. And there are a lot of crazies who are running countries with all these big guns and bombs. But I personally think the people, the sheeple of the world, people, the regular people of the world, most of them do not know the gist or the reality of what's actually going on. Right now I'm looking through some words: good, bad, sad, happy, in, out, up, down, in, out, and then I get the black and white. Black and white, look at that. White has a 65 numeric value, black is 29. This one, inside 2, it's the basic creation of alpha beta. Inside of 2 is 1. Number 6, the reverse of 6 is 1. This is inside of 2. The reverse of 6 is 1 because the cube is telling me. So I need to understand numbers from games. And this is the cube game. This is the game of 9, 6, 4. Why? Because there are 6 sides to a possible 9 face, okay, to 4 corners of that face. 9, 6, 4, 2. The 1 is the reverse of 6 and completes its greatest number as 7, as where all other sides, 2, 3, and 5, will all have duplicated covered corners. The maximum you can actually have on a reverse is 5. So it is 5, 7, 7, 5. So if I bring 5, 7, 7, 5 back to this book in which I ripped out, we would end up with the single cube here. 6, 4, 4, 6 is inside. 4, 6 is inside. 6, 8 will cover this. So this 4 and this 1 will be 2, 4, 6, 8. This one will be 1, 3, 5, 7. This one runs the clock, 3, 5, 7. This one runs inside the clock or is moved by the clock. And the gateway is what the separation. 77 is the Christ of time. 7 plus 7 is 14. 1 plus 4 equals to 5. 5, 5, 5. And that's how the Mayan calendar, Cinco de Mayo, Raphael 7286, and the constellation of Pegasus. Thank you for watching this video.